A, B, C, or D? Richard Skinner of the Inquirer, Dave Collins, a former big leaguer. By the way, congratulations to you on joining the Bengals beat for the Inquirer.
Yeah, I'll be with Paul Dehner Jr. all year long, and it's interesting because the last time I covered the Bengals was in the 90s, the lost decade of the 90s. So this will be different to actually probably cover a winning team and a possible playoff team.
Well, wait a minute. If this playoff streak of 3 in a row ends...
It's me. It's all me. I'll take the full blame for that.
Exactly. All right, guys, A, B, C, or D? Brian Price at the unofficial midway point. Dave, what do you say?
A. I think he's done a great job. Coming in as a first-time manager, never managed in the big leagues before. I think he's handled his players well. They've had numerous injuries. They've had no controversy at all. And I like the way he's handled all his players. I think he's done a phenomenal job.
Skinny, what do you say?
I think it's A as well. And it's not just because of where they are record-wise. That's always easy to look at the record and go, I'll equate that to the A because they've done well record-wise. I think it's all the things that Dave said. I think he's handled the pitching staff very, very well. He even self-analyzed himself the other day, Mike, in which he said he wants to get his position players a little bit more, his bench a little bit more involved. He said the injuries will actually allow me to do that more. I think he's done a pretty good job of keeping guys as fresh as possible. And obviously, dealing with the injuries and just, he seems like he's just been an emotional rock the whole year.
Yeah,
I think but at the same time, he's in charge. There's an it factor with him that I think he's got it.
You know, you say that, and it brings back to mind Joe Torre. He has a very calming way about him, Dave Collins, doesn't he? And Skinny, that he doesn't get too high with the highs, doesn't get too low with the lows.
But you know he's in charge.
You know he's in charge. He's never upset with anybody after a bad loss. But if he's unhappy with the loss, he will let you know about it. He has that calming influence, and you need that for 162 games because it is a marathon.
Yeah, the most impressive thing to me was he hasn't changed who he is. He's still the same guy. You know, he hasn't tried to be any different than he was as a pitching coach, even though his responsibilities are different. His personality is still the same. The other thing I really think he's done great about, Mike, is if there is any controversy or anything going on inside, we don't know about it.
Absolutely.
And he's keeping it behind closed doors, and I like that. His job is supposed to be putting out fires, not starting them, and that's what he's doing.
Let's take care of some housekeeping things as we come back from the All-Star break next Friday at Yankee Stadium. They'll play a 3-game interleague series with the Yanks. Pitching rotation-wise, we've seen Matt Latos and Homer Bailey, who will both take minor injuries at the All-Star break. How do you think he should reset the rotation coming back? Should he back-end those guys just to give them that extra few days?
I think I would. I think I'd go right back to where Cueto's back at the top of the rotation by the time you come back. Or if worse comes to worse, if Simon doesn't go 4 innings in the All-Star game, maybe it's Simon, then Cueto, then you backfill from there. If Latos is ready as the third guy, great. And then maybe it's Leak. You've got a little flexibility in there. But I think I'd go back to the top of the lineup, if you will, and I'd start things off with Johnny if I can do it.
And Dave, what do you think about a potential move that Walt Jocketty could make? Because once we get back from the All-Star break, it's only 2 weeks until the non-waiver trade deadline. Could he do something? Do you think he will do something? And you've seen Walt operate here the past several years.
I don't think he will do anything. I think he's going to leave the club the way that it is. They don't have a whole lot of options. The one thing that they do need is they need a bat to come off that bench, or they need a bat to play every day in left field. Who are you going to dangle out there? To me, the only guy that they could get something for, but can they afford to give him up, is Broxton. Can they give Broxton up and maybe bring somebody in that's got a good bat?
You know, when we sat here last Sunday, they were 6 games out of first place. As we sit here this Sunday, they are 1.5 games out of first place. That is not only stunning, it's highly improbable. Dave Collins, I'm sure you've been on some teams that were 6 games out at the break, that were 1 game out at the break. Psychologically, going into that second half of the season, to have that narrow of a gap, does it make a big difference?
Yeah, I think they know that they can win it. And you want to be in a position at the All-Star break to win it. And with everything that's happened to them thus far, they're in a great position to win it. To me, in the second half, Latos is going to be a key for them, and Homer Bailey. These 2 guys have got to pitch like they are supposed to pitch, and if they do, they should be there.
Taking the Reds out of the equation. You like the All-Star game? You watch on Tuesday?
I do, but I don't like it the way I did as a kid. I know that sounds old guy-ish, and I think part of it is just I can see American League guys today.
Right.
I mean, for me as a kid, and probably for a lot of people of my age, or maybe even a little bit younger as a kid, the All-Star game is when you saw those American League guys you just read about in the box score, or read about back in the days of the Sporting News when that was literally the baseball Bible. Today, I've seen Manny Machado. I've seen all those guys. I mean,
so you weren't on Twitter as a kid?
No. I'm barely on Twitter. No, I'm on Twitter
now. Dave Collins, the one thing you think in about 30 seconds or less we should really look for from this baseball team second half of the season? What could surprise us? What do you think could unfold?
when Votto and Phillips come back, do they come back as the players are supposed to be?
Right.
Because they haven't been the players they have been in the past. And Phillips is still a really good player, but he's not having the year that he should. And those two guys are going to be the key before it's all said and done.
Great stuff from these guys the first half of the season. We expect you to make a push for the pennant now in the second half.
It's on us.
It's on you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.